The cottage country has taken some serious losses. We've talked about it on the channel before, and a lot of hesitation has actually come in the comment section, not believing that the cottage market is as bad as people might think. In today's video, we're going to discuss 3 different losses, some articles that have come out in the last little while here, talking about cottages and how much they are actually suffering out there. Ontario cottages were a thing in the COVID era where people were trying to get out of the city, buy something because they could work remotely. And working remotely was great. However, a lot of companies right now have decided that it's time to return to office. It's 2025. The work from home life is no longer a thing that we are going to be okay with. Understandably so. Offices have leases, they're paying for you to be there, so it makes sense that eventually you were going to be called back. Of course, it's not the most popular choice for those who are enjoying this cottage life and not having to drive into the city or drive to their workplace, and that allowed them to actually buy a cottage and live there and enjoy it. And now they're going to have a little bit of an issue if they have to drive into the city on a frequent basis. And that's what we're seeing. According to an article that we've got here from the Financial Post, owners are kind of stuck in this paradise when the market right now has kind of come to a real standstill. Some of these prices are just falling off a cliff, and I'll show you a few of those in a moment. But people are in a few different categories. One is this: I bought something, I didn't have to go into work, and now I do, so I really got to get closer to the city. The second is somebody bought it to use as an Airbnb, the rules have changed, and the rental game is not providing that income that they once had. And the third category right now for sellers for cottages is those who actually have owned the cottage for quite some time. They want to take that equity and move it to something else, or maybe just pull that equity out altogether. So they might be selling in a good financial position. However, the stuff that pops up on the news is not usually the good financial position. It's usually the doom and gloom and, hey, look how much people have lost. And unfortunately, that's the stuff that people are most interested in. So we are going to start off here with the first one. It's a $900,000 loss. Now today we're on Reddit. The first thing that we're coming across here is a $900,000 loss in only 4 years. This property, it is a nice little cottage. Of course, it's big. It's got 5 bathrooms, 5 bedrooms. It's got the parking. It is something that somebody really enjoyed, thought it was a great idea to get into the cottage market. Now, they bought this one at a price of $1.9 million just back in 2022. So not all that long ago, $1.9 million for something like this. And they have tried and tried and tried again to try to recoup a lot of their money here. But unfortunately, it's not working. They went from 1.9 to 1.7 to 1.8 to 1.6 to 1.5, and they have kind of taken that ladder all the way down to finally sell it 3 years later for $1,040,000. So 1.9 down to $1,040,000. That is a $860,000 loss. That is a really difficult pill to swallow. One can only assume that if you're going to take that much of a loss, you are probably no longer able to carry the property. It's not working out for you, and you are finding yourself in a situation that is not ideal at all. Now, the second property I wanted to talk about that we found here on Reddit, it just sold for 1.525, and it sold 13 days ago. It's another big one, right on the water, 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, but they bought this again in 2022 for $1.8 million, and now they are selling it for $1.525. So pretty quickly here, they've lost $300,000+ after their fees and expenses, and this is a quick turnaround, 3 years on both these properties where another seller has just had to sell. Why would you? You probably can't afford it. That's really what it's going to come down to a lot of the time. If you're willing to take that kind of a loss, either you can't afford it, maybe there's a divorce, maybe you bought it with a few people and those people no longer want to be part of the transaction, so you all want to or need to walk away. There's really only a few reasons why some of these properties are going to stick around on the market and be sold at some of these big losses, unfortunately. Now, the last one that really stuck out to me when it comes to cottages was down in Havelock. It just sold for $2.9 million. Of course, $2.9 million is, it's a lot of money. Doesn't matter. You got a lot of money to be able to purchase this for the price tag here, even in today's market at $2.9 million. It's a 2+1 bedroom property with 3 bathrooms. And this one was actually purchased for $3.65 million in 2022. So we have seen once again another $600,000 to $700,000 loss here, even before we start to add up and tally all the fees and expenses that go along with it. So we've got 3 cottages here to really prove to the market that the cottage world is not looking great. There's some big losses that are happening in different price points from that million all the way up to the higher end. And of course, all 3 of these sellers are selling for a reason that's unknown to us, the viewer out here. We are assuming it's a few different options that we've already discussed, but it's happening in the cottage country just like it's happening in local real estate GTA market that we're currently dealing with, where we see condo losses and home losses all the time. So you need to really keep an eye out. If you're thinking that now's the time to get a cottage, there's a lot of stuff happening out there. Your opportunity could potentially be there for you. But if you own a cottage, just know this is happening. You might hear people selling their cottage quick. Of course, like every other kind of market, some stuff sells quick, some stuff sells, in a regular 30-day time period, and some stuff sells at a loss. It depends on what kind of product you have, what kind of home you're offering, what kind of property you're offering. But just know the cottage market is very similar. So if you're looking for a deal out there, cottage market, there are some deals to be had, albeit you need a lot more money than you might to get a deal in the condo market. But it's not looking good for any of the housing sectors out here. So just be cautious when you are transacting right now in the GTA or in the cottage country, and know your risks. Thanks so much for watching this one. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.